Over the past century, the aircraft carrier has evolved from a platform for launching canvas-winged biplanes to one capable of launching high-powered fighter jets capable of attacking targets hundreds of miles away. Despite significant advances in naval technology over the past century, the carrier remains the solution to one of the hardest questions of the Navy today: how to project power on the high seas. In today's video, we will give a look at how American aircraft carriers got evolved over a period of time. Hello and welcome back to our channel. So let's begin. Admiral William Bull Halsey, one of America's greatest carrier commanders, summed up the carrier's role in 1942 by saying that it allowed the U.S. Navy to get to the other fellow with everything you have as fast as you can and dump it on him. The first carriers were not designed by the United States. Seaplane carriers, or tenders, were developed in the early 20th century and deployed across the Atlantic during World War I. As with the tank, the U.S. Navy at first copied what Britain and other European countries did. The USS Mississippi, the U.S. Navy's first seaplane carrier, was converted from a battleship in 1913. Mississippi's young seaplanes flew reconnaissance missions during the American occupation of Veracruz, Mexico. Rather than launching planes from her deck, Mississippi lowered them into the water and collected them once they had landed. At the time, this had its benefits, but it also stopped planes from taking off when the seas were rough. When ships began launching planes from their decks rather than the sea, they took the first major step toward the modern aircraft carrier. But this required a lot of deck space. Traditional battleships were temporarily turned into flying ships by putting simple flight decks on top of the gun turrets. Eugene B. Ely, a civilian pilot, was the first American to fly off a ship on November 14, 1910, when he successfully launched from the USS Birmingham. Ely, who couldn't swim, used two bicycle inner tubes as a makeshift life jacket. The light cruiser Birmingham had an 83-foot-long wooden flight deck over its front guns. This deck sloped slightly forward to help Ely's Curtiss pusher get off the ground faster. The biplane rolled down the deck, its wheels dipping into the sea before ascending and landing on a nearby shore. 2 months later, Ely made the first successful deck landing on Pennsylvania, which was another ship that had been changed. This time, he used a tailhook and ropes as the first arrestor cables. Captain C.F. Pond of Pennsylvania described Ely's landing as the most important landing of a bird since the dove flew back to the Ark. The most significant bird landing since the dove returned to the Ark. The concept of seaborne aeronautics evolved quickly in the early 20th century. With the decommissioning of the USS Mississippi in 1915, the United States played only a minor naval role during World War I, but continued to monitor carrier developments. Several firsts occurred during the interwar period. The British HMS Argus was the first ship with a full-length flight deck, and the HMS Hermes, launched in 1924, was the first carrier with a control tower island, a feature that would last for more than 90 years. The Japanese Imperial Navy experimented with carriers in the East, launching the world's first purpose-built carrier, the Honsho, in late 1922. The U.S. Navy launched its first aircraft carrier, the USS Langley, CV-1, in 1920. It was originally built as a collier but was converted to include a full-length flight deck. The Langley proved to be an important test bed, and two battlecruiser hulls were later repurposed and fitted with flight decks during construction. When the world was plunged back into war in the late 1920s, the Lexington and Saratoga were instrumental in cementing the carrier as a premier ship of the United States Navy. But no matter how much technology advances, the carrier's mission remains constant: project power at any time from any location. That's all for today. Hope you enjoyed it. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel to see more of our incredible videos. Look forward to seeing you in the next video.